So we're going to talk quickly about doing an assembled view in Inventor. Now, this involves taking separate components that we have made and then putting them into a single file type where we've combined these components together and defined the relationships between each component. To start this off, as with everything, you're going to go into metric because that's the units that we use. Normally, we'd click this button. However, we actually want to go into the assembly button down here, which looks like the little logo for 3 different parts coming together. It's still the standard millimeter, but our file name has changed to IAM for Inventor and then assembly. So I'm just going to open one of them up. It'll just take a little second to load. Now, you might get this up in the top here, placed from Content Center. That's the CAD library that Inventor uses. So if you wanted to bring in standard components for things like screws or nuts and bolts or nails or anything like that, you could use the Content Center. We just want to use normal place. Now, if you're lucky, that button comes up straight away. I'm then going to find the starting component for my model. Now it's going to come in massive, that's fine. I'm just going to click somewhere on the screen. It'll take a little second to load. And then I get this second ghost component. Now, if I wanted to add in more than one of them, I could click again, and that would create a second component inside there, kind of like a copy and paste. I don't want that though, so I'm going to press escape on my keyboard and it's going to vanish. Now, at the minute, this bottle is able to move around wherever it feels like. That doesn't make any sense. I want to keep it grounded. I want to keep it set in place so that it can't move. Otherwise, all my relationships aren't going to make any sense. So I'm going to right click it and I'm going to find grounded there. And now if I click and try and drag it, nothing happens. Okay, it can't move. I'm also going to take this opportunity to just move this around so that it is better orientated and I'm looking at the top of the bottle. Okay, so now I want to bring in my lid, I believe it's called. Yeah. So I'm just going to click the lid. It's not had a colour applied to it yet. Again, if I wanted to, I could click again. I don't, so I'm just going to press escape. And also, to help with seeing this, because it always helps me and it might help you, if you go into View, Visual Style, and Shaded with Edges, the edges of the different objects will be represented by a black line. That makes it a lot easier to work with. Now, I wanted to find the relationship for Inventor between these 2 components. I want to tell it how they join together. However, I am not going to use joint. Joint is for mechanical relationships, so ones where movement is important and you want to simulate a movement. Now, you can learn how to do this, but it's not what we're wanting to do just now. We want these to be fixed in place. We're going to use constraints. There are 2 basic kinds of constraint. There are mate and flush constraints, which are found in this tab. Those are best used for things with flat faces, so boxes, rectangular components, things like that. And the other one that's important to you just now is insert. It's good for cylindrical, circular, or conical components. So we are absolutely going to use insert. What that lets us do is it lets us highlight the center axis of a component. And then you should be able to see that I've got separate white circles appearing on all the different edges of this cylindrical component. Now this is really important because whatever edges I click on both the bottle and on the lid are the ones that are going to stick together. So if I want that edge on the bottle, I want to think about this edge connecting to it on the lid. I don't want to select this edge, otherwise the lid will get stuck inside it, which is not helpful at all. So I'm going to click that and that will pop into place. If I'm happy with the relationship, I'm going to press apply. If it hasn't worked exactly how I've expected, I'm going to press cancel and it will reset back to where it was before. But this has worked, so I'm going to press apply. So I can close that now. I can go back to place again. I can find my bottle cap, bring that in. Same deal, could get more than one, don't want more than one. Go to constraint, make sure I've got insert selected. And then again, I'm going to pay special attention. I can zoom in if I need to, or I can rotate around using the cube if I need to. I'm going to click that edge and I'm going to click this edge and apply. And that is how I do my assembly, at least for a cylindrical style of component.